Alright, this video I'm going to talk to you about your feet, and you're going to see my feet, so just warning, I don't know, people are weird about feet and stuff, and mine are kind of ugly on top of that, so just fair warning. Um, so feet don't get really talked about enough in the fitness world, which is kind of crazy when you think about it because your feet are your literal foundation. Everything starts from your feet, from the ground up. I've said before, your body is a kinetic chain, and like any chain, it's only as strong as its weakest link. And so if you have a weak link down here, you're gonna have a really hard time, the rest of the way up. So, with your feet, your skeleton does not have a natural arch in the foot. People, sometimes people say that they have like flat feet, or they have like a fallen arch or something like that, and they act like, it's, there's nothing they can do about it, and they'll get like, what are those? I just had it. The things that you put in your shoes, the orthotics, I guess. A lot of people, it's kind of frustrating to see. A lot of people really like to wear, shoes with like thick cushion all the time. So, people, when they do that kind of stuff, they're literally like retarding the muscles in their feet. They're setting them up for atrophy. So like your skeleton does not have, sorry, there's a mosquito in my face. Your skeleton does not have a natural arch in the foot. Okay, like if you just relax your foot and just let your skeleton do the work, your foot's just gonna go flat. The arch is the result of muscle contractions. It's not skeletal, it's a muscle. It's something that you control, okay? It's something you can build up and get better at. And I'm a prime example of that, okay? So like the mid part of your foot is not necessarily like as heavily tied to bigger muscles up your leg, okay? Which is why, when you have an arch, the mid part of your foot kind of raises up. So I'm actually going to go ahead and kind of show you, because I did lose the arch on my right foot completely when I got injured back in 2017, and that injury just was no good, because the injury was bad enough on its own, but like once the injury itself healed, the fact that there was so much like I don't want to say like collateral or trauma or whatever, because that makes it sound like, but just that it had a direct effect on the rest of my foot, and that I had been walking around on one flat foot and getting all these muscle imbalances and all these aches and pains from head to toe, and I was starting to get stiff because I was putting more weight on my left foot, and so my feet were doing different things, which meant the rest of my body on each side was doing different things all the way up, okay? And still to this day, my neck is crooked. I have to like remind myself to sort of straighten it out, because if I just sort of relax, it's gonna kind of go to the side like that. So it's crazy. Feet are important, all right? So the best way to build up that arch is to develop something called a tripod stance, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're going to get 3 points of contact big toe, pinky toe, and then heel, all at the same time. And you're going to sort of dig that heel into the ground, grip the ground with those toes, okay? And you can kind of see my toes on my right foot. Here, I don't know if you can, I don't know how well you can see, but if I just put my foot natural, my toes kind of go out a little bit because of the way that I, walked and stuff for so long. But then when I flex into a tripod stance, now all my toes are pointing forward, more or less. Okay? Which means I have more stability up here because, these guys aren't just kind of flopping around and trying to catch up. You see, like, as if my toes, check this out, if my toes are going out this way, the whole rest of my leg is going to go out this way. And guess what happens all the time with this leg? I'll just be standing and it goes whoosh. I'll look down and my foot is like, out like this all the time. And I have to bring it in because I don't want to continue to develop those imbalances that I developed. And so by moving that foot in and trying to, realign those toes, pow, all right? It helps engage different muscles that I had kind of lost the ability to engage for a little while there, okay? And I mean, I imagine that you probably have some imbalances in your legs, probably because I think you just tore one meniscus, I'm pretty sure. So, and I mean, people, even without injuries, without significant injuries, people have imbalances anyway. Not everybody, but a lot of people do, just because of the way that they live their lives. Maybe they have a job or played a sport that was one side dominant. Part of what contributes to my problem is the dang clutch in the truck, so my left leg is always, working and doing more, and the hip is flexing and stuff. My left leg gets tighter, and so, driving around and having it always flexed on that clutch really doesn't help. So, things like that can create imbalances as well. It doesn't have to necessarily be a result of an injury. So anyway, like I said, 3 points of contact: pinky toe, big toe, heel, and like play around on your feet a little bit, take off your shoes, stand on one leg, hold on to something if you need to, close your eyes and, walk a distance and see if you can walk in a straight line. And if you can't, like if you're veering, like me for example, if I'm not careful, I will veer to the right because my left leg tries to take over, and so it drifts into my mid line and pushes the rest of my body to the right. Okay? So, by doing that little drill, by, maybe having a safe area where you can walk a little distance and then close your eyes, and, see if you can walk in a straight line. And that'll tell you stuff as well. But a lot of it is going to be getting to know your feet. As weird as that sounds, I had to do the same thing in order to save mine. And, the lessons that I learned saving mine is stuff that I could apply to my other foot as well, and just that makes them stronger in general. I mean, I've never been able to make arches like this with my foot. So it's possible, but it's something that you're going to have to practice. And it's something that you should be practicing anyway with the workouts. This is how you should be standing to generate the most tension within your body, which is going to create stability to make whatever movement you're doing more efficient and more safe, or more safer. Um, and yeah, I'll just talk about my feet a little bit more. So like, for example, so my right foot got hurt, and so it was on the bottom of my foot is where the wound was, and so I could not like put pressure through it at all, and I was scared to flex the toes because it was a big gash on the bottom of one of my toes, and I was literally like super gluing it a couple of times a day, and slapping band-aids on it and going to work. It was a mess, bro. I really should have went to the doctor. And so anyway, as a result, my right leg, my body would push my right leg out of the way because my right leg couldn't do as much work, and my left leg would come into my midline, right? So my right foot, in order to get away from my body, like I talked about earlier, would externally rotate like this, okay? And so it still does that. This foot, I need a new camera, man. Sorry. This foot would internally rotate. Hello, Frederick. And the foot would usually be straight, or maybe sometimes even a little bit in like this. And to this day, like, my hips still do the same thing. Like, I can feel it first thing in the morning when I get up. Usually my hips are crooked, and I have to do certain exercises to make them uncrooked. It's crazy, and it's all because of the feet. And so my right foot, when it comes to the tripod, I have the easiest time putting force through this toe, because my foot was always like this. Sorry, like this. And so I'm really working on pinky toe and heel for my right foot. And then my left foot was heel dominant because my left foot was like, in the front and stepping and stuff and taking long steps. So it was heel dominant, and pinky toe dominant. Okay. So I work on pushing down with my big toe on my left foot.